Hello, I'm Mrs. C, an ELL teacher here at Florida Connections Academy. Today, I'm going over the Unit 15, Lesson 3, Sharing Traditions, Day 3, Informative Writing Portfolio Assignment. For this portion of the assignment, you will be submitting your final published draft to your teacher. So that means you should have already gone through most of the informative writing process before you got to today's lesson. But just in case, I'm going to go through the entire writing process to make sure that you're ready to publish your final draft. Before we begin, let's look at our rubric to make sure we know what to include in our final draft. Here's our prompt. What do the children in Rain School learn from their first lesson? So that's what I'm writing about, and I need to include information that relates back to that prompt. In the highest category, it says, the writing is clearly organized and appropriate for the audience and purpose. That means when events take place in the story, I want them to take place in the same order in my text and my informative writing. I want to make sure it's organized and I want to make sure it goes back to that writing prompt and is about what those children learned in their first lesson. The next section says words are used effectively for the audience and purpose. I want to make sure I'm writing with complete sentences. I want to make sure I get information from the story itself, from what I've learned and read. The last section says punctuation, capitalization, grammar usage, and spelling are correct. The writing just makes sense. So I want to ensure that when I go through this writing process, I don't skip that section that says revise. I don't skip that section that says edit. I want to make sure I go back in and look at my ideas and make sure I make them as perfect and ready as possible for that final published draft that you'll be turning into your teacher. Okay, so if I begin my planning, I like to use maps sometimes. So this is a little map I made, just a bubble map, really simple. And these are just my ideas. You did this several lessons ago. I've got my prompt down here at the bottom. What did the children in Rain School learn from their first lesson? And I've just got quick, short notes. You could have jotted these down on a piece of notebook paper in your interactive notebook. You could have made a bubble map similar to mine. It was just ideas. What did they learn in that first lesson? So I know I'm writing about Rain School. That's the text or the story that I read. I know that they learned how to build a school, how to make mud bricks, and how to make a roof. So the character makes a roof, he makes mud bricks, and he eventually helps his classmates build a school. So these are just my ideas. This was just planning. These might have been the same ideas that you thought of since these are details directly from the story. But this is not a final draft or a published draft, of course. That's just planning. So after that, you probably went ahead and began writing using this information. So using this information, I came up with a plan and some sentences that were complete but maybe not exactly correct. So over here I've written, the children in Rain School learn many things from their teacher. I see some mistakes in there, but that's okay. This is still just my first draft. Here are my supporting details that go back to that topic sentence and give more support. The children make mud bricks. The children make a roof. They put wooden stools inside. Pretty basic sentences, right? They're clear, they make sense, but maybe I could add more when I go back to revise. My conclusion says building a school teaches you a lot. So I've got a really good rough draft. It's not perfect and it's not published. I need to revise and I need to edit it. So when you revise, you might change the order of your details. You might add a few sentences. You might add ideas into your sentences to make them clearer. So I'm going to go back and look at what I've written and see what I can revise. Now, I think these sentences down here are pretty basic, right? The children make bricks, the children make a roof, they put wooden stools inside. What could I add? Well, I said they learned many things from their teacher, but have I mentioned they're building a school? I haven't, right? I kind of forgot that part. So I could say the first lesson, oops, and any spelling mistakes we're going to fix in our next section, right? We're going to fix that in our revision or in our editing section. So the first lesson, the students learned, I'm going to run out of room, so I might have to scoot this up a little bit. was from building a school or was how to build a school. That gives my reader a little more information about what my next sentences mean. So the first lesson the students learned was how to build a school. Now I've got that in there, and I think revising and adding that sentence just makes my entire paragraph make a lot more sense. So the children in Rain School learned many things from their teacher. The first lesson the students learned was how to build a school. The children make mud bricks. The children make a roof. They put wooden stools inside. Now I know where those stools are going, right? Inside a school. Building a school teaches you a lot. Okay, so with that revision, with that added sentence, I'm happy and I think that this makes a lot more sense than it did. But I see some editing errors. So the next step is editing. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to have someone else read my paper and see if they can help me find maybe some spelling errors, maybe some punctuation errors. Another way to do this is to look back at your book too. So I can see an error right here already. Children. I've spelled this wrong. I forgot the E. I did it 2 more times too. So children is spelled incorrectly. I'm going to make sure that I correct that when I do my final draft. I want to make sure that I spell children correctly in each section. So there's the correct spelling. I also see another error. Rain School. Look at that book title. Book titles are always capitalized, right? So I need to capitalize that letter R and that letter S. And I'm going to put it in quotation marks too, since this is the title of my story. Now, this is a grammar error that you might not catch, but maybe someone else could help you catch. This is the wrong there. That's like over there. My cat is over there. I need T-H-E-I-R. Their teacher, the teacher that belongs to them. So the children in Rain School learned many things from their teacher. The first lesson the students learned was how to build a school. I need to fix children right here and right here. They put wooden stools inside. All of this looks good so far. Let's look at the last sentence. Building a school teaches you a lot. Now, school is a tricky word, and if you look at your book title, you might have already caught my mistake. School has an H in there that you cannot hear. It doesn't make the ch sound like CH usually does. It's just silent. School. Building a school teaches you a lot. Now, if you like to text or maybe chat on your computer, you might spell you like this as a shortcut. But it's incorrect, and on a published draft, we need to write professionally. So I'm going to correct that U with YOU. Now my editing portion is correct too. Now that I've got all of these sentences revised with some added information, edited with that punctuation, grammar, and spelling corrected, now I am ready to write my final draft in my best handwriting. And this is what you are uploading and turning in today for your portfolio assignment. So let's look at my final draft. Rain School by Mrs. C. In the story Rain School, the children first learn how to build their school. They make mud bricks. They make a grass roof. They also put wooden stools inside. I think you can learn a lot from building a school. I've taken all of that information. I've made sure that it makes sense and it's in order, just like my rubric told me to. And I've made sure I revised and edited before submitting my final draft with all of those corrections. So now if I look back at my rubric, I think everything looks good. Oh, that's the title. Here we go. My writing is organized. My words are used effectively. They make sense. And I've corrected that punctuation, capitalization, spelling, all of those good things. So I think that I'm ready to go with my final published draft of my informative writing piece. I'm going to upload it to my teacher and hope that I get a wonderful grade. So remember, these are your words. You don't need to write exactly what Mrs. C wrote. You don't want your paper to be exactly like mine, but you do want to make sure you get those details from the text, from Rain School, and you want to make sure that you follow that rubric to make sure that your writing makes sense too. Okay, so that's it for me. I hope this has been helpful. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.